Tessa, is it compulsory, basically, to agree with you?
I looked up the definition of feminism for you, Jake, because I thought you might need some help.
Feminism is not about equality anymore. It's about crushing the patriarchy.
Oh, you're another beleaguered male.
I
understand that you're actually half my age.
I don't believe in the politics of feminism.
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. We got a short, sweet one today, but it's a clip that I really enjoyed. It is an extremely posh British Chad, Jacob Rees-Mogg, commentator, former politician, doing his thing and debating a feminist who is honestly one of the worst out there. This is a great example of what happens when you are a lifelong feminist, what happens to your soul and your demeanor. So with that, let's get into it.
A judge in an employment tribunal in Peterborough has said that claiming not to be a feminist could be an act of discrimination. I quote the judge, who said it would appear that a feminist is simply about all genders having equal rights and opportunities as men. The judge confessed the tribunal was perplexed by the defendant's non-feminist views and suggested such opinions would be in breach of equality laws. I'm as perplexed as the judge by his statement that feminism relates to all genders, implying more than two. I thought feminism was about women, not the transgender ideology. But discrimination must require action rather than a lack of belief. As long as others are treated equally under the law, is there one definition of feminism that must be believed? There seems an extraordinary intrusion into personal belief, as opposed to viewing discrimination as an active decision. Well, with me now is my panel, associate commentator at The Telegraph, Mutaz Ahmed, and the historian and broadcaster, Tessa Dunlop. Tessa, is it compulsory, basically, to agree with you? Now, you may think it should be, but is that a sensible way for the law to go?
Isn't that why you have me here? It's your token feminist, so that you aren't entirely shut down by a tribunal, the establishment that is GB News. No, I looked up the definition of feminism for you, Jake, because I thought you might need some help in this area. It is the advocacy of women's rights, people like me, on the basis of the equality of the sexes. So that is baked into law, last updated, as we discovered.
Well, hold on. Baked into law, the equality, and I'm all in favour of that, but advocacy. To say that it is compulsory to advocate something is very different from saying that something is the law of the land.
It's good to see you, your usual pedantry self.
Yeah, that's what you would expect. It's what my viewers and listeners expect.
Indeed. It's important to say that this manager, he was an environmental agency manager, therefore he had a level of agency within his agency. They were contesting his maintenance of a non-feminist view. They suggested that was discriminatory, i.e., as a manager, by maintaining non-feminist views, that impacts on your ability to treat your employees and your co-workers equally.
Does it? If he treated everybody equally, the fact that he didn't believe in feminism was surely his choice.
But he was maintaining his non-feminist stance, which is counter to equality. It runs counter to equality.
Not if he didn't do anything about it. Mutaz.
Feminism is not about equality anymore. It's about crushing the patriarchy. It's about women gaining the upper hand over men. That's not equal.
You're another beleaguered male.
I'm not a feminist. You can believe in equality, right? But you don't have to be a feminist to believe it. And if this man is saying he's not a feminist, he might well be saying, I don't believe in crushing the patriarchy. I don't believe in creating an environment that's negative for men.
I understand that you're actually half my age and you perhaps haven't been around quite long enough to understand what feminism literally means in its legal defined context. What's happened since you grew up is that the culture wars have taken words like feminism and they've injected them with all kinds of potency, which actually are deeply unhelpful to the cause of equality and the cause of women.
If I don't identify with that word then, which has been injected with all of this politics, am I being discriminatory? If I say in the workplace that I don't believe in DEI, am I saying that I don't believe in racial equality? Of course I'm not. I'm saying that I don't believe in the politics of DEI. I don't believe in the politics of feminism. How is that discriminatory?
Well, I think what we need to do is divorce the definition of feminism from the way in which you clearly see some individuals as using it as a tool to whip the likes of you with and your rights with. I will go back to read the Oxford Dictionary definition of feminism, the advocacy of women's rights on the basis of the equality of the sexes.
Very interesting.
I mean, if this is a don't answer the question contest, then she is doing a marvellous job. And the feminists wonder why people find them so insufferable. It's because they become like an antisocial little chihuahua whenever a man is around.
Prancer hates people, especially men. You're okay.
And all they want to do is condescend and belittle them as much as possible in an order to smash the patriarchy wherever they see it. I mean, they are so overcome with the emotion of their false worldview that they can't have a conversation with a man for more than 7 seconds without trying to put him down or without trying to pat him on the head or just be combative in general.
You're actually half my age and you perhaps haven't been around quite long enough.
And I mean, we all know someone like this, or even a few people like this, and let's just be honest about it. It is a massive ball ache to be around. I mean, this interaction is just everything wrong with feminism in just one picture. But to the point, her Oxford definition really doesn't mean too much, and she can keep repeating it until she goes blue in the face.
The definition of feminism, the Oxford Dictionary definition of feminism.
But the fact of the matter is that feminism is a radical political and social movement. And when we move past the definition, here are some things that feminism has played no small part in creating. The massive uptake in the birth control pill, which in reality drastically affects women's hormones, and we have no idea what it's doing to their health or their mental health. The deconstruction of the nuclear family, because feminist doctrine imposes upon women that they must pursue a career instead of family.
Or women face the problem of forced childbearing.
The declining birth rate in the West due to the aforementioned reasons and much more. The demonization of masculinity and the notion of toxic masculinity, and ultimately the demoralization of a generation of men.
What do you think?
What's your name?
My name's Blair.
Blair. What are your pronouns?
She and her.
Hey Blair. Hey Blair.
You still identify as a baby or a toddler, that's totally okay.
Unbelievably unfair court systems where fathers have their children taken away from them unfairly. The massive increase in divorce rates, 70% of which are initiated by women. And when it comes to married, college-educated women, it's 90% initiated by the woman. Not to mention the truly devastating effects that the pressure, the social pressure of feminism has on young women. Young women who aren't taught any better, and they buy into this, and then they follow it to its logical conclusion of being 50 with cats and no family. And then they wake up one day and think, what the hell have I done? I gave away my youth. I gave away my fertile years. I was trying to be a boss babe and crush the patriarchy and kick men in the nuts, and now I'm lonely. I mean, that is a damn tough pill to swallow. So let's continue the clips, guys. We'll watch the next bit where she still can't answer a question and once again resorts to personal attacks. Guys, just before we get to the next clip, if you are enjoying this and if you would like to support the channel in just a little tiny way, you can smash that like button, help me out with my algorithms, and also subscribe to the channel. I'd love to have you. Back to it.
Very interestingly, when I looked it up in the Oxford Dictionary, it says you should pronounce it feminism, which seems to have gone out of fashion. And I think that's Mutaz's...
Well, that was before even I was born.
But I think that's
Jacob.
Mutaz's point, that words evolve, and actually what you're saying about a dictionary definition is all perfectly fair and true, but Mutaz's point is absolutely spot on. It has become a political advocacy of something. I'm all in favour, strongly in favour, of equality before the law. I think it is the most fundamental principle of British law. But that doesn't mean that I believe that there is equality of all genders. I don't actually think there are more than two genders anyway. And this judge is on about there being a whole slew of genders. That's very odd, isn't it?
This judge is... I didn't catch that.
He said that his definition of feminism, or as we're all now going to pronounce it, feminism, is that it relates to all genders. Now, once you say all genders, all implies more than two. It's only both genders, isn't it? We would say, I mean, I'm delighted we're having a discussion about the correct use of English, but it's both genders. Now, actually, you're a feminist. How many genders do you believe in?
Well, in the eyes of the law, the protected characteristics of different individuals equates to more than just two sexes. It includes more than two genders. So I would say I'm separating sex from gender, and I would say that while I recognise two sexes, there may be more people identify with more than two genders.
Are feminists protected or endangered by a man in a frock going into ladies' loos? I've silenced Tessa. That's the first time that's ever happened. Mutaz.
What are the other genders? What are they?
Well, I'm not somebody who identifies out with my gender, which is female, but I know that there are those with protected characteristics, transsexuals, who have a different idea of their own gendered identity. And who am I to quibble with that? I really think what concerns me greatly is that the likes of Jacob Rees-Mogg, who's more likely to be found in the sort of golf house or the gentleman's drinking club than he ever is campaigning for equality and women's rights and worrying about our safety, suddenly gets very hot under the collar if a man wears a woman's frock and says he's a woman and then goes into a female space. In any other context, do you ever get worried about female safety?
No, this is something that women are concerned about.
Some women, a few women. The only reason we're hearing so much about this is because men like you have jumped on their bandwagon.
No, we're hearing so much about it because of feminists, ironically. It's people like J.K. Rowling.
Yeah, I agree, and it's a rabbit hole that I wish feminism, which has got far greater causes to fight, like equality, justice, economic justice for women.
Tessa, having been momentarily silenced, is now making up for it.
Why did nobody ask her what a woman is? That would have just been an absolute slam dunk moment, but an opportunity missed. I mean, she really loves her Oxford Dictionary definitions, so I wonder, when it comes to the definition of a woman, if it would be so simplistic for her. Because apparently feminism is neatly defined, and if you don't agree with the definition, then you're a misogynist. So guys, short one today, enough ranting from me. As per usual, you can find those links below. If you like this content, you can subscribe and also watch another video here. Till next time, I'm Jake, this is RattlesnakeTV, keeping you armed and dangerous.